All right, and we're back. So we're talking about the stick thing.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh my God, I could talk about that all day.
Yeah, the sticks is another thing. That's the problem with drum stuff.
Yeah.
And the fact that no one talks to us about stuff is we will talk about it all day.
Endless.
Yep.
Endless. So the stick thing brings me on to another thing that I came across recently is I don't know if this ever happened to you, but I find myself, I've just kept injuring myself through gigs and shows. I do play in a lot of bands.
Yep.
I do play quite a bit, but I was pulling tendons. I pulled muscles in my ribs, like during South by I did that. I pulled my sciatica multiple times, just like right in the ass. Oh, it never feels good. It almost feels it.
Stretch?
Constantly.
Okay.
But I
don't know
really
what to
think
tell
I
you.
grip a little bit hard. I've been learning it's about how you hold that stick.
Yes. Yep.
The first thing we did when we started playing drums, the first thing we learned was how to hold a stick. I believe the last thing you learn playing drums is how to hold that stick again. It's because you want the reflection off of it.
Yep.
And you probably know this more than me because you studied and probably had someone teach you. I just had to find out the hard way, right?
Yep.
So you let the drumstick hit. The only time you pull or grip is when it comes back.
Yep.
Other than that.
I have spent the better part of the last 2 years working on hand stuff. Not speed, but just general stuff, like hand stuff and just technique in general, because with the amount that Burger Patrol plays and how intense we play, I want to be able to do it until the doing's done.
Right.
You know, be it if it's, God forbid, if we break up next week or if we get another 10, 15 years. I want to be able to come hard every single time. Phrasing. So what I worked on is we have YouTube now. We didn't have YouTube growing up. We have YouTube.
Yeah.
God bless YouTube. Because everything is on YouTube. All this stuff. So I watched a ton of videos on hand technique. So I got into
right?
What? Drumeo stuff and Stephen Taylor's site, Stephen's Drum Shed, I think it's called. I love that page because he's just a working drummer.
Yeah.
He posts videos of working Nashville gigs. And it's not glamorous, but he's fucking solid. He's solid, he sounds good, he plays well, and he's got really, really good advice for all level players. I love that shit.
Yeah.
But, so I watched a lot of his stuff, and so with hands, like, because there's different ways you can grip. You can do your French grip, which is thumbs up. You can do, this is German and American, depending on how the angle of the stick is, but like...
You want to phrase it?
Yeah. But then you can also, I wish we had a stick.
I don't know why we didn't bring one.
Yeah, I know.
Two drummers here, not one drumstick between
You
us.
can do the stick where your fulcrum is in between the thumb and the first finger.
Right.
You can also do it where it's in between the thumb and the second finger, and what that does is you get support out here in the front and in the back.
Right.
And so that can relieve tension. There's also an exercise, this one I got from Drumeo, for just building wrist strength.
Right.
You take your hands. This is it was Dom Famularo's thing, and you just hold your hands up and you put your thumb and your first finger together, but you put like zero tension in there, and you just do this
over and over again.
and you just keep doing this.
He said,
he says he was in a lesson with some fucking classic great dude, and it was a 2-hour lesson, and all he did was this for 2 hours, and you start to feel it in here because you're building those like working
tendons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so I try to get it so that like even if I'm, all the way up and I'm coming all the way down, the real power of the motion is down here.
Right.
Is coming from the hand, because like this is the overdrive pedal. This is this is the tone.
Yeah.
This is overdrive.
Right. You don't really move past this point.
Yeah.
You're supposed to stay locked in.
Yep.
If you're
And there's
moving your elbows out.
Yep.
You're doing something.
And then there's all sorts of stuff, like there's this Tony Williams thing where you hold the stick back, so it's basically you've got the stick back here and you just fucking wail on stuff. And so it's like we do this tune called Mouthbreather, and before the breakdown there's this big 16th note roll, and it's 16 bars, something like that, of just straight
30 seconds, the longest 30 seconds of your life, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Right.
and it just goes, and then there's some accents and whatever, and then the last time through it is this big dynamic thing. And so what I do instead of like, because when you start throwing your arms up to get louder, the whole thing slows down.
Right.
You're gonna pull it back. You can't. No one's beyond that. But what you can do is you can start. I basically I start it in call it American grip, and then for the first part of the dynamic, then the second dynamic I come into French grip.
A little bit more straightforward.
A little bit,
yeah.
and then at the end of it, I've got the front sticks off, or I've got the front fingers off, and I'm just shotgunning off the back fingers.
Ooh.
And it's it looks like you're not working, but it's this. Your time stays on. If you've practiced it enough so that your strokes are even both ways, it all
Speed
stays,
there.
but you get that power out of it.
That loudness.
Yeah, and
Wanna
it's
raise
all
the
just
sound.
it's just because it's especially with social media and stuff now, it's easy to get caught up in just wanting to learn fast stuff and learning how
you're a
to
drummer.
go
Yeah.
all over the place and do
You want to be
the
insane
fast
right
stuff.
away.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you take the time to pay attention to that small stuff, then all that big stuff is easy once you get it. It's if you take your time with stick control. Do you have stick control?
I do have stick control.
If you take your time with stick control and work those first 3 or 4 pages and get them real good and real clean, that's all you need to know to play drums. There's
You're on
grooves
it.
in there,
Yeah.
there's fills in there. It's all those stickings, all
Those
that crazy
patterns.
fast chop stuff, except for the foot stuff, because the foot thing is new, and I'm not good at putting the feet in fills. I'll play.
That was always a thing for
I
me
can
too.
I'll do the Ringo thing. I'll keep
Single,
underneath it,
boop,
but
boop.
and if I have the double bass pedal, which I haven't had since 2009, do that fucking Mike Portnoy,
That's what I always do. Because I have that double bass pedal.
that shit. I mean, that's bomb. Or a lot of the Vinnie Paul stuff.
Yeah.
Is that do that all day long? But that single foot stuff, where it's just those fast doubles, I don't do it because I think it's stupid. I don't do it because I'm not good at it.
And I don't want to look like an asshole
And I've
up
not
there.
had the time
Yeah.
to sit down and practice it. So
Well, that was the thing. You're a hands guy. You got
Yep.
your hands down.
Yep.
Me and my hands were always my weakest part, and my feet were always something I was super strong with. So double bass comes naturally at
Yep.
a certain point where I'm just flying off the heels. But if you ask me to do that same thing from my feet to my hands,
Yep.
it's just not translating. But that's what I started to think about. Why am I doing this on my feet? How am I doing this on my feet, and how do I translate that? Because
Yep.
it was all about the ricochet, right? Letting that thing come back at
getting
you,
your
going
bounce
back, back,
and
back,
work,
back, back.
having the instrument work with you.
Same thing.
Yep.
So why can't I do triplets across the toms, right?
Yeah.
That was all in my head.
Yep.
It was me just thinking that I couldn't do it.
Yep,
I was very capable of doing
It's
it.
a head thing, and then it goes all the way down, because once your head starts oh, this is going to be tough, or I'm oh, this part's coming up, then your
Automatically it's
wrists
tough.
and your fingers tense up,
Clench.
and it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And you're not getting anywhere. And I don't. I mean, fills is one of my. I will put this out there 100%. I have fills that I use that I play well, but I do not like playing a lot of fills, and I know appropriate fills for stuff. I've got some good metal licks. I've got some good jazz fills. I've got some good country fills. I've got some good ballad fills. But I don't. It's interesting, especially whenever you talk to different musicians. You can listen to the same song and both love the song, but different things will speak to you
Right.
inside those songs. And so for me, lately, not when I was growing up so much, but lately now, all these big 2-3 bar fills that are starting to pop up in a lot of places, it just doesn't do anything for me. And so when we do the Burger Patrol stuff, we're trying to basically write heavy fucking dance music. And it doesn't
Yeah, that's
always
what it sounds like.
it's just we're trying to create a vibe, and if you're going to make dance music, you're not going to play a lot of fills.
Right, that's distracting.
So I just try to do hooks. I just try to think of everything as hooks, because that's what people remember. So if the guitar or the vocal has a hook, drums can play hooks.
Right.
Ringo
Yeah.
is hooks. There's Zeppelin tunes that are hooks. Lil Wayne, the Jimi Hendrix tune.
Yeah, I was thinking about hi-hat things.
And little hi-hat things, little hi-hat splashes and stuff that's all hooks. So I try to, if I'm gonna play fills in a Burger Patrol song, I'm gonna try to picture someone air drumming them in their car.
I can see that.
You know?
Imagine it before you do it.
Yeah, it's there's some stupid car commercial or cell phone commercial or something that had Fly By Night, the Rush tune. And dude's like, he's sitting in the car like, yeah, or like the, whenever In the Air Tonight comes, boom, 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 boom. Like, those are all hooks. And I think with people getting into all this fast stuff, you're forgetting hooks. There's a 30-second note, multiple varied sticking pattern fill is cool. And it takes a lot of coordination to play it and a lot of skill to play it. But it's not gonna stand out. People are gonna go, holy shit. But that's not gonna stick in someone's head for 40, 50 years. Like,
it's really, I think that's why a lot of people always have a thing with drummers, or musicians in particular, songwriters have a thing with drummers, because we were saying, we add in a lot, and then we always want to do a crazy fill. We always want to, it's I heard it best that someone said it's a drummer has such power and control over things. Yeah. And to be irresponsible with that is not helping anyone. Yes. Because you could take control of any Rickshaw song and just start devastating it with drums and make it a drum song. Yeah. But you're not thinking about it like that. You're thinking about it as, what's going to make this song sound good?
It's when I was in education school, we used to talk about it as it was called intention of assignment. Where it's here's, you've got to make a lesson plan. There has to be a point to the lesson, and everything inside your lesson plan has to support the point. It's the same when you're writing a paper. You have a thesis. Right. Everything has to support the thesis. If you're in a band, fortunately Burger Patrol is, where we're all on the same page about how we want the songs to sound. So there's not too much argument or about what parts need to be happening or what the goal of the song is. We know what we're trying to do. We're trying to write groove metal, like Pantera,
right?
That kind of shit. It's supposed to. There's a feeling we're trying to do, and it's the same reason it's great when you get called on this is a country gig. I know exactly what I need to play.
Right, you know where to be.
I know what country music's supposed to sound like. I know what I need to do. And it's we spend a lot of time practicing, and you practice stuff that you're never going to use.
Because you want to have love doing that.
You want to have it in your back pocket. You want to have stuff there that you can pull out if you ever need to. But you need to have the control to not do that.
Yeah, you got to have that restraint.
Because again, like you were saying, we are drummers. We can train wreck a song in 2 seconds.
We think it sounds amazing.
Yep.
Because our drum parts were
It's drums. It's the loudest instrument. It's the one where the most people are likely to notice a mistake.
Yeah.
If you mess something up, it's the one, a guitarist can miss a note in the middle of a solo. Whatever.
That's fine. Yeah.
No drummer, even if you're doing a big fill and you knock a rim instead of the head, everyone's going to notice that.
Click.
Yeah, it's that's not
I saw you miss
that
drum. Yeah. Go for the cymbal and it made no sound because you missed it.
Yeah. Or it's
no one saw that one.
I've done that so many times. We do this one tune where I do this little fill and then I knock the bell, and that's supposed to bring the whole song back in. And the number of times I have been off by the slightest bit and just knocked the wing nut instead of the bell. Thank God my band pays attention.
You're gonna get that eventually.
And that's one of the things. Now that I have two 22-inch ride cymbals, I just go for both of them now because one of them's gonna hit.
That's
if you get both of them, you're fucking swinging a big old dick. But if you at least you hit one of them, the part's there.
Bing.
And I used to dick around with I'll set things up differently every time. No, I don't do that anymore. I'd be let's try to do the ride cymbal over the top, or maybe a little higher or a little lower.
Just trying to find your comfortable.
I'm just trying to get it right where it needs to be. And I do it differently for different gigs. I set up my cymbals, or I sit differently for Burger Patrol gigs than I do country gigs and stuff, just for varying reasons.
Right.
If
probably want to have almost a different drum set in those situations because of how you want the sound to be.
Yep.
Right.
And it's and there's also
snare.
And it's also it depends, because Burger Patrol, we're going to play 35-40 minutes tops usually. Right. Whereas if I'm on a country gig, say I get called to do the White Horse, that's hour and 45 nonstop. Or when we used to do the Broken Spoke, that's a 4-hour set without a break.
No breaks in between?
No breaks. Or is it a 3-hour set? It might just be a 3-hour set, but either way, it's no breaks. So you have to if you got to piss, you do it first or you hold it.
Get a bottle back there or something.
Yeah. And so it's you've got to think about because obviously you're not going all in, and it's a different kind of energy usage. But like, you have to consider like, your back is a thing that will get sore. Your ass will get sore if you don't have a comfortable throne on a 3-hour gig. It's gonna suck.
Yeah.
Like
posture.
Yeah.
So important.
And I that's posture is
so
hard for me.
I'm right there with you, man. I keep on fucking slouching, and I feel comfortable like that, but I start to cramp.
Or like if I'm doing like a groove thing, and especially like if I'm channeling Steve Gadd, I'll get right the fuck down in with the hi-hats, and I'll do like this thing, and I'm like, oh, we're feeling this shit. But then all of a sudden my shoulders popped up here. Everything's off
covering
center.
up your lungs. Yeah.
Like the whole thing is wrong.
Yeah, you're going to hurt yourself, my friend. The snare drum being too low, making your arm pull down to create this fucking horrible neck pain.
Oh, slow
The ride cymbal being too far away or too down low, and it's just like, why
The
is
one
this
I've
hurt?
never been able to do is the ride cymbal over the floor tom, or anywhere in this general vicinity.
Gotta get rid
kit.
of that tom to get it right there.
I can't do it. Yeah, I mean, I don't use a second rack tom, so it's easier. But even if I do stuff where there's like just happens to be a second rack tom on the kit and I can't take it off, or like I feel like it would be poor etiquette to just take someone's rack tom off.
Switch it all around.
I will just get the boom stand as much into this position as humanly possible and just play over it.
Yeah, because you're not going to use it anyway.
Yeah, because it's like I don't want it, twisting down and hitting the tom, because that would, be shitty for everyone involved. But I need my ride cymbal somewhere in this vicinity.
Easier, right?
For me, yeah.
I think it really is, because I go like this a lot. I'm over the floor tom because I was just a metal drummer. That's how I started. I just wanted to thrash. Plus, it's weird when you play the full kit, because where do you put that ride if you got that extra rack tom?
And that's you take time with it, and you got to fuck around with your setup. You got to change it up, do all sorts of different things, and it's different body types for everyone. Like I have, Kadu and the Dude, Clay from Kadu and the Dude.
Sounds like a familiar name.
You live at the Met, right? No, you don't live at the Met?
I live close to the Met.
You live close to the Met. All right, well, my buddy Clay from Kadu and the Dude, he's like, I don't think he's quite 7 feet, but he's
tall,
pushing that, and he's like the whole thing. He's got long legs, long arms, like. So he has to set up stuff kind of weird to accommodate that, but you have to anyone has to do that. You have to listen to your body, because some people have longer legs than they do arms. Some people have tall torsos and short legs. Some people have long legs and short torsos. Some people's arms are long, some aren't.
Or you can be that drum set,
yeah,
right?
you can be a giant guy who's really comfortable playing 5A sticks. You can be the tiniest dude in the world who plays 2Bs. It's just like, you've got to take the time and mess around with stuff and figure out what makes you feel the most comfortable behind the drums. Because you have to be comfortable.
It's number one thing. If you're not comfortable, you're not going to be able to play these songs
exactly.
Because that's all you're going to think about. That's all you're going to think about. Like how my snare drum is like rubbing against my knee, and it's causing a bruise to happen, and it's like that's all I could think about. And then here comes that fill. Fuck, I butchered it. Because,
my Achilles heel, and I hate myself when I forget this, I always bring a hi-hat clutch with me. 2, usually, because if I have my gear, there's one on my hi-hat stand and one in my bag. But when you get on the gig with the backline kit, and I love backline kits because it's different. So, as much as I am an advocate of having as much as possible in the same place,
right,
having to deal with minor challenges of getting that stuff there, I kind of like that.
A weird tune floor tom.
Exactly, and just kind of powering through it. Because another one of my things is you never blame the gear.
No,
it's never the gear's fault. It's always
great drummers can sit behind any drum set and make it sound good.
So you just have to. Oh my god, this backline sucks. No, this is a drum set I get to play tonight. I get to make music on a new instrument tonight. You never know what's going to happen.
Sometimes the backline gear sucks.
Yes.
Because they make that fucking bass drum flush with the ground. They don't lift up those front legs, and here we go. Just scooting along like no one has ever set up a drum set in their entire life. Yes. And I'm so sorry, the 1-2-1 or 2-1-2.
1-1.
They are just very adamant about you using their drum set.
Yep.
And it looked great from a distance. And then when I got close, I was like, the legs are missing the rubbers.
Yep, I've gotten to do 1-1 a couple of times, so I've gotten used to that rig. But the first time I did it, it was definitely
half the drum set
Yeah.
fell over on me.
But yeah, and like going back to what I was saying, though, hi-hat clutches, I can't do shoddy hi-hat clutches, where it's like where they don't grasp the rod
Right.
enough,
They're not
so that you're
pulling, they're
pulling
tightening
it through, and then your hats keep bottoming out every
Yeah.
single time. So I've been using those Gibraltar like pop lock clutches.
Ooh, yeah, I've been wanting to buy one of those.
Dude, buy two. They're like $25.
If you stomp on it twice, it closes it, right?
No, that's a drop clutch.
Oh, okay.
That's like for the double bass thing. No, this is just, it's like that. You know how when you have like a hose at home, there's that connector for the sprinkler where you kind of push it in, put it down, and and then you let go of it and it locks.
Yeah.
It's that, but on a hi-hat clutch.
Oh,
And
actually, that sounds
it's
nice.
perfect. And I have one with me everywhere. And that's my thing. If I have that locked in, I'll
Good.
feel comfortable
Yeah.
with anything. It can be a different bass drum pedal. It can be toms in weird places. It can be cymbals that I don't get to set up ideally. If my hi-hat clutch is locked so that I know I can trust my hi-hat stand the whole night, because I apparently have a very heavy left foot. And so I will, like, if it's a bad clutch, I will stomp that pedal once and jack the whole thing
I
down.
see why this is becoming a problem, because single bass player, you gotta lock down that left leg. No matter if you use an
Yes.
ear lot, you need it
Yep.
for support.
Yep.
Overall
and
support.
that's one of my big pet peeves in my playing is I was a massive Chili Peppers fan back in the. I think everyone was a massive Chili Peppers fan. at
Not
some
me,
point.
sir.
All right. Well, a lot of people.
I'm a
were.
Faith No More fan.
Okay. Cool. But my thing is, Chad Smith does this thing where his legs are always bouncing, all the time. He's always bouncing his legs, and so I started doing that. And now I'm trying. Thank you. Now I'm trying incredibly hard to break that habit of just like always keeping, for no reason, always having my left leg going. Because what I found, it's like fine when I'm doing rock and roll stuff and I'm like I'm on the cymbals and I have like the hi-hats going. That's totally fine. But if I'm sitting on country gigs and I'm playing a straight groove that's up at like, 160, 170,
Yeah.
and my foot is trying to go eighth notes at 160.
no.
Like it's just it.
Oh,
It's-
that's wrong.
Talk about tension. Like, holy fucking hell.
Go clench
Like,
up, dude, yeah.
And it just sounds bad.
Because that hi-hat doesn't bounce like anything
Yeah.
else. To get that going that fast, I don't even know if that guy from like motherfucking the Police, that drummer, like could get that going like that. And he's a master of the hi-hat,
Dude,
right?
Stuart Copeland's a fucking
He's the
freak.
motherfucking master at a hi-hat.
He's the OG. I was
You
listening
could
to...
give him a hi-hat and he could just make the
Yeah.
entire song with that. And it was like, please teach me how to use my right hand like a real drummer.
Yeah, no, he's... Oh, my God, I love Stuart Copeland. I love Stuart Copeland.
Yeah, it makes me like...
So much.
Maybe, I don't know if it's like this for you, but like a lot of the music I listen to has to do with the drums that are being played. So I can get
Oh, yeah.
past the vocals, I can get past whatever style it is because the drums are great.
Yeah. I'm a lyric guy. I'm a lyric guy 100%.
It's so weird.
Yeah, well, so like, there's drum stuff that I like, that I love as a drummer, because you have to have that kind of overindulgent, like this is way too much, but I fucking love it thing.
Yeah.
Like for me, that's Dream Theater.
Oh, that's yours?
That's
too
like,
much.
and especially old Dream Theater, like Scenes from a Memory. Like
Mike
it's a lot
Portnoy
going
just
on,
fucking-
but my God, is it good?
Jazz, dude.
Like it's just
Heavy
all over the
jazz.
place. But like I'm a massive Bruce Springsteen fan. That's my shit.
That's the weirdest thing for a drummer to say. That's like, my favorite drummer is, fucking a guitar player. It's like,
Well, no, yeah, it's like I love playing heavy music, and I'm accepting of the fact that if I am to do anything with the drums, if we're here for a reason, my job is to play heavy fucking music behind the drums. But my favorite drummers are the jazz guys and a lot of the old 70s and 80s session guys. So like Steve Gadd, Vinnie Colaiuta, Jeff Porcaro, these dudes who are Bernard Purdy, these dudes who are monster players.
I loved watching his instructional video on
Because no one
watched it twice.
No
Yeah.
one loves playing the instrument, playing the drums more than Bernard Purdy
Like,
does.
it makes it.
It's incredible.
What's the nicest person you've ever met?
Yeah.
Or have seen? I've never met him, but I hope one
But
day.
he kills, and it's because those guys just have a lock. So I'm trying to when I practice, I try to do two things. I try to make sure that when I have to play heavy, my tunes are locked. I have control over my breathing so that I'm not starting to push things. and so that I'm just generally very in control. But when I get to work on stuff in my own time, I like to work on small things, like little things, like if you listen to Asia, the Steely Dan record, which has 7 different drummers on that record. There's the amount of color that all 7 of those dudes can get out of the hi-hats is insane. And it's the same with Stuart Copeland. Stuart Copeland can do just ridiculous things with his hi-hat.
It's a 2 and a 4 on the snare.
Yep.
The bass drum is not doing anything. But what the hi-hat is doing is everything.
And that all stands to support the lyrics. And so, like I said, Springsteen's my dude. And I love that kind of storytelling, that grandiose of Springsteen. And if you want to hear a motherfucker play the drums like, it's going out of style, go on Spotify, look up Springsteen live at the Hammersmith Odeon in 75. Okay. It's Max Weinberg. Destroying. Just killing. Absolutely killing. It is ridiculous. Everything, like, there's these...
I'm thinking about it, man.
Yeah, he support, like, when Springsteen's singing, he supports it. He's right there with it. When the band's going, when it's, like, band jam time, he's just bringing the shit out.
Always take that little break on a solo. Let the guitars have that moment to shine.
He
just keep that backbeat going.
It's a listening thing, and it's...
He doesn't have the same set ever. He calls out songs on stage, if I'm not mistaken, and it's anywhere. I think it's like 180 songs that he could just. And if you're in that band, you have to remember all that shit. You know what I mean? Like, that's quite impressive.
Yep. No, they're phenomenal. But I love that stuff. I love the Tom Waits stuff. All the Tom Waits stuff is phenomenal.
The wackier the better, in my opinion. Like, I want something weird.
Yeah, and it's maybe it's because I was an English major and I'm a sucker for good poetry, but like when you can paint pictures, like, that's why. But you can do it in metal too. Not a lot of people do. But my favorite metal band of all time is Pantera, but my favorite modern metal band is Every Time I Die.
Oh.
And one of the reasons for that is because Keith Buckley writes good lyrics and he creates atmosphere. So like when you listen to metal, the stereotypical stuff that we say about metal, but it's aggressive and it's angry and it's hateful and it's fast and it's mean and all this stuff.
B, C.
But that's just like the style and the speed and the aggression. Those are like the natural things that come with that. When you listen, especially like the newest Every Time I Die record, it's like, because it's partly the music, but a lot the lyrics, it's just this like, it's heavy and it's aggressive, but it's like, it's desperate. And it's got this air to it that I haven't heard in metal in a very long time.
Breathing.
Yeah.
A lot of space.
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
You know who said it best, and this was 3 years ago, Gojira's last album, BANGover. They did that metal talk on Spotify, and the one thing they said is Gojira is known for being technical and jazzy and insane all the way around. Yeah. This time they wanted to take a step back and let things breathe in between.
Yep.
And maybe that was it, but it was their best album, critically their best album. First headlining tour ever. I've been listening to Gojira for 10 years. Yep. They never got the opportunity to headline. And I'm thinking like, oh my God, this is an amazing band, why not? And it was just that one album.
Yep.
A couple of songs that were like huge singles and up for a Grammy Award that year.
Yeah.
It's like,
and
they just took a step back. They just kind of made it a little bit, I think, a little bit more easy to listen to. Maybe that's what kind of it
and
is.
You can, it's in that same vein where you can say what you want about it, and I'm going to choose to not say anything about it. But when after Blood Mountain, when Mastodon put out Crack the Sky, that was left field. And then they did it again, and then they did it again.
This is where they're going now.
And fucking go for it.
You're like, the fan of the old stuff, huh?
No, I just haven't listened to a ton of the new stuff. I haven't listened enough to really say anything about it past Crack the Sky, and I liked Crack the Sky a lot.
It's very metal,
but
like classical metal, right?
It's that's because the thing with metal is like, there's metal that we all love. You're never gonna find a metalhead who doesn't love Slayer. You're never gonna find a metalhead who doesn't love Morbid Angel. Or like, Cannibal Corpse.
They might pick and choose what albums, but
right.
they still...
But it's still there.
It's still Slayer, right?
And so I have a lot of respect for any band in the metal genre that's gonna try something new, because metalheads don't like new.
No.
Not always.
Insane criticism all the time.
So when you do it and you pull it off, you made a fucking record.
Yeah, I just can't believe the comments that I hear about, like, oh, last great Slayer album was like Rain of Blood. I was like, that was like their second.
Yeah.
And they was like, they just slowed down.
It's
and
like,
I was like, because they didn't want to do the same thing in each album. But Slayer always sounds like Slayer, in my opinion. Take Diablo and El Musica.
Yeah.
Probably the worst hated album, but still Slayer,
and
in my
that's it
opinion.
on the head.
Yeah.
Is if you go somewhere new but still sound like you. Mastodon can do whatever they want. They're still going to sound like Mastodon.
That's what I always
Same
said.
with the Gojira
it was
thing.
always there.
Like, it's... The core of it never changed.
Right.
You know, the energy that you and only your band can put on a record, as long as that stays the same, you're fine. You can do whatever you want, you know?
People are going to always bitch about it, and you can't please everyone, but you got to please yourself as being a musician. You try to think about the overall, what people are going to think when they listen to it, but at the end of the day, if you're not enjoying what you're doing, then there's no goddamn point to doing it, because it doesn't sound genuine.
And it doesn't sound genuine, and there's some things where, like, you can only make, like, you know, what if Mastodon just made Leviathan 5 times?
Yeah, then they're just going to be that band that's just,
Some bands,
another,
I mean,
it's like Soulfly, you know, part of the tribe, but each album sounds the same.
You know, some bands,
It's fine.
Some bands pull it off. I'm the biggest fucking AC/DC fan in the world. I
Rock and
will
roll,
never,
right?
There is not an AC/DC song that I don't love, and I hate when people are like, oh, Phil Rudd just plays the same fucking thing every song. No, he doesn't, because I've learned every single one of them, and there's different stuff in there. But, like...
You never saw his mega bass drums and side by side?
Oh, when Chris Slade had the 2 bass drums. Yeah, that was goofy.
Sometimes drummers do things just for show.
Yes.
If you see cymbals way past someone's head,
Yep.
that is for pure looks, my
Yep.
friend, because that is going to kill your arms, your elbows. If you're going to go 50 years doing that, like Neil Peart, you're done.
Yeah.
You
I
just
can't...
tendinitis in the elbow.
Yep.
I don't play drums anymore.
I can't do people that talk shit about Phil Rudd. And it's one of those things where, like we were talking about earlier, like, your band has a sound, your band's got to have a sound, you got to have a sound. If Phil Rudd is such a terrible drummer, then why is Phil Rudd the only drummer that sounds like AC/DC's drummer?
Yeah.
I can't. If I play AC/DC tunes, it doesn't sound like that.
I can't manipulate
It's such a...
It's his style.
It's just what he does. And it's perfect.
Yeah, it's like Dave Lombardo. He has a style. In my opinion, Slayer is Dave Lombardo surrounded by guitars.
Yeah, I mean...
And that's what it really was, and I don't understand them kicking out Dave Lombardo for whatever fuck reason, money.
Dude,
because it's like, he revolutionized how drums were seen after that.
And it's,
Guitars
and it's like,
not the same.
metal was aggressive, and Dave Lombardo was more aggressive.
Yeah, he was like, oh, that was cool, check this out.
Watch
you know?
me, hold my beer.
Yeah.
Like,
even Gene Huglen was like, this is how you're going to do it. And then he was like, whoa, like, you took whatever I showed you and then did 20 times that. And something where Gene Huglen can't even play those kind of things. And he taught him a lot.
Talk about a fucking monster. But, like, I remember when so this would have been like, Jesus, 2005 or 2000, whenever Christ Illusion came out, the Slayer record. And, you know, so Slayer had done all their 90s stuff with Paul Bostaph. And Paul Bostaph is a
He's still great.
Monster player.
Still great.
But, like, when what's the first tune on there? Flesh Storm. And it's just like, we put that on in the car, and it was just like, Slayer's back. Like, watch out.
The fills were insane.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, I got that, I'll never forget, I got that record the same day that I got Ashes of the Wake, the Lamb of God record.
Oh.
And
back to back, dude.
It's just, I mean, Chris Adler, another guy who just, he plays so musically. He's thinking about, he hears everything that the band's doing and knows exactly what to do to make it right. What to do and what not to do. And, like...
It kind of shows you maybe sometimes what a drummer needs to do sometimes, too, and that's to stand up for what you think is right in this song, because guitar player, I don't know if this happens to you, but they're like, play this. I'm like, I love how you explain drums to me with your hands. You don't even play drums. And he was just like, just allow the drummer to, like, maybe come up with that. Like, it's great to give advice, but leave it up to the drummer to get that beat going, because I've watched those documentaries with Lamb of God, and it doesn't seem like any of those people like each other. But he's very right. He comes across as a dick because he's passionate about what he thinks that it should sound like and what should be done at this moment.
And it's, you know, I think those arguments are best settled when you have the space to, I've got this idea, you've got this idea, I'm going to play it my way, I'm going to play it your way, and then we're going to come out either... Usually, I think it works best when you come out somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Because then you've got a part that feels like your part, but might have that like quirkiness that you don't necessarily think of as a drummer. You wouldn't think to put this here or this there.
Right.
So like, I mean, like the first Burger Patrol record, Leo did that all on his computer. Like he played the guitar and the bass and then he programmed it, because Leo's an audio engineer guy.
Oh, okay.
So he did the drums programmed, because the whole thing is we wanted to have, when we started playing shows, we wanted to have songs out, and he already had the songs written. So the first one was programmed drums.
Easier.
And so when I wrote parts for the first one, you know, obviously we'd been, you know, working out songs and stuff, but like it was like he had his programmed drums, and then I had the way I was playing, and I just kind of tried to meld them, because some of the stuff that he was doing isn't stuff that I would ever hear.
Right.
You know, if you were to play me a riff, I wouldn't hear that part under it. I could hear 5 different parts, and that wouldn't be one of them.
Right.
So
he's a
like,
guitar player, thinking about it in a completely different way than how you're.
And so it's like, or it's the same if like I've done some one-offs where you just like my buddy Trevor, the guitarist in Bourgeois Mystics. He also runs a studio out of his fucking apartment, and so he'll call me in sometimes if he's got a singer-songwriter in. He'll be like, "Hey, can you come in and cut this demo real quick?" So you walk in, you hear the song once, write a little chart out, play it once your way, you get feedback, play it once their way, get feedback, and then you play it the third one, and that's a mix of the first two, and that's usually your take right there. It's where you've like, I've listened to you about the, you know, maybe you want, and it's like little things. It's like maybe you want a smaller fill here, or sometimes even a bigger fill here, or you know, how about this part? Can you get on the ride cymbal instead of the hi-hats, or just things like that, where like it's not natural, or you're like you have a vision, and you present it, and then instead of just like hearing someone else's vision, being like, "Nah, you're not the drummer. You don't fucking know what you're doing," just accepting it for a minute,
right?
Doing it. And then, you know, in those kind of situations, you have that next take to mix it together. Yeah. You know, because if you're a Nashville guy, you don't have that. You have to play exactly what they want
all the way through. Yeah.
And you just learn. And you learn to think like that.
They're paying you money anyways. Yeah. So if it's a job type of situation, you go pay me to play drums. I'll play the drums.
Fucking play it. I'll play exactly how you want me to play drums. Exactly.
Like. Anyway. But I'm getting paid at the end of this, right? And if I'm not, that's when I start to put the foot down. Where I'm like, you can pay me to take away my opinion.
Yeah.
That's what you can do. You can pay for me not to have an opinion.
Yep.
But yeah, the balance, the criticism, the talk.
What's cool is that if you play in a band for a while and you have those conversations and you've written enough songs together, you do kind of start coming out into this thing where no one has anything to say about the drum parts, because you know how so-and-so's thinking about what they want, and how your guitarist is thinking and your bassist is thinking, and you know what you're thinking, and you already, without putting too much thought in it, you're already kind of mixing that all together into the beats you're going to play.
Yeah.
So it's like that's a really cool thing. Like Leo writes a lot of stuff that starts on off beats. It'll start on like the end of one instead of on one, or he'll play me something and I'll be like, okay, so this starts on one, and then I'll go 1, 2, and he'll be playing already, and I'm like, it's a pickup? He's like, yeah, it's a pickup. I'm like, you motherfucker.
Yeah.
But like going and writing for the new EP we're doing, like I'm already starting to catch that, so I'm like, that's an upbeat. I know where you at.
I feel the same way.
All right.
Low down and out.
Hey.
Oh, you gonna let this part breathe?
Yep.
Okay.
All right. We gonna breathe. Like I dig. I'm there. We're making music.
Back in on too. Okay, I got you. It's every song now.
And that's fun, because that's when you're working on a thing and you're getting that tight together.
Right.
Like when you can start thinking in the same space like that.
Without even saying anything to each other. You have to be that way when it comes to a band.
Yeah.
You have to look at your bass player, your guitar player, and be like, you see me, I see you, where are we going?
Yep.
We're going the same place together. At the end of the day, it's why we do this, and being a drummer, I think, is we might get that concept more than anyone.
Yep.
Because we know how to follow, we know how to lead.
Yep.
And a lot of people, not being a drummer, don't know how to, like, here's the guitar riff. A lot of songs start off with the guitar.
Yep.
So they're following that guitar riff.
Yep.
The drums comes in after, so they're not going to jump on that drums.
Yep.
Say I took it and sped it up.
Yeah.
And then you kept that same pace. And I realized that because you're not actually following me.
Yep.
You were just following the tempo that was set. So it's a give and take.
Yep.
Everyone needs to learn a little bit and just take that, be like, hey, I don't think that's the best drum part.
Yep.
Bite your lip. You're like, okay, let me
Yep.
rethink
Well-
about this for a second. No, don't get mad.
And also because,
Right.
and to cut in on that, when you have to rethink about your part, what bad comes from you having to think about a part differently?
That's true.
You're just opening up another avenue.
Yeah.
That's all you're doing is you're working on another thing. It's something new. You know, that's when
should be being a drummer.
when everyone because again, we play the drums. We're the loudest instrument. We drive the bus. We have the whole thing. But when you can have that openness and honesty with your band or musicians in general and with your playing, people notice that.
Right.
It's a good thing to have because it's more productive, but people also notice that when you sit in, especially if you sit in with like someone you're subbing for, or if you're in on a last minute audition or something, and you learn it the way it is, and then they're like, yeah, but you know, this, like, I've had this happen a lot where it's like, I'll learn the record, and then the band you'll play through it, and they'll be like, yeah, actually we do this differently live. And if you just go, how do you do it? Cool, got it. Make a little note on your pad. People will be like, wow,
Yeah.
he's listening.
Yeah, I
Or
don't want to do it wrong.
Yeah, it's funny. In a city of so many drummers, it's funny the stuff that you can do that will surprise people. Like, I sat in to audition for this country band a couple years back, and I came in with charts. I had learned the songs they
Right.
asked me to learn, and I had charts written down.
Stand.
So I walked in with a music stand, charts, and a Topo Chico. And they
Ready
were
to
like,
go,
what's
baby.
that? I was like, those are my charts. They're like, you wrote charts? Like, yeah, we got 2 hours of music to do in a week. Like, I
remember
fucking
this.
wrote charts. Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. It's no fucking thought to me because,
Rainbow,
you know,
dude.
you learn how to be prepared. And then we play 2 songs, and I crack a topo, and they're like, is that water? I'm like, yeah. And they're like,
I'm playing
they're
drums
like,
here, by
and
the
he's
way.
not drinking? I'm like, what the fuck are you, like...
I got that a lot.
What are you-
So you're a
what-
drummer, that means you're an alcoholic?
Yeah, it's like
After.
I was.
After.
I was never an alcoholic. That's bad, but I had a pretty horrible drinking problem for a few years in college, and that was my always thing. That's why I got called, because I'd show up drunk, but I'd
Still
show
there.
up.
Done that
And
millions
that's
of
more
times.
than some people could
Hung
say.
over, still
So they were
here.
like,
Yeah.
they were like, oh, Sean's gonna show up at this rehearsal drunk. Yeah, but at least he'll show up.
Yeah, not be like, I'm
Like,
not gonna be able
and,
to
and I
make
could
it.
play drunk back then. I can't play drunk now. Like,
Talking about wanting to throw up. And it's just like, we're getting too old for this shit where it's like, you can't,
yep.
you don't want to like go in there like half cocked like that because
Yeah, and
you have too much.
That's a huge thing too, is like, you know, because again, I'm almost 29 now, and it's like the stuff I could do when I was 21, 22, I can't do it now. And there's a really shitty phase where you have to learn that, and then you just have to admit it. Like in Austin, like I moved down here thinking like, all right, we're going to the city, I'll put the bottle down, everyone's going to be working. I didn't know what a fucking session IPA was. They didn't have those in New Hampshire. Now I moved
mean I
down
can drink
here.
these all day?
I've never seen alcoholism promoted as like a positive personality
It's a drinking
trait.
town. Like, what do you guys want to do tonight? I don't know. Let's go to a bar.
Fuck tonight.
Is there anything
hey,
else?
It's 9 in the morning. What do y'all want to do? Let's drink.
Is there anything else to do in this town?
And it's like,
Go see a show.
And
Let's get
I will
loaded.
not. If you can do that and stay on your shit, then I got nothing bad to say.
Hey.
But I can't do that
Yeah.
anymore.
No, you
Like,
got to figure out what works for you.
That's why this is my 3rd fucking latte since I've been here. Like, because this works for me. This works for me all day long. Like,
I know it's like, God, I wish I could just do cocaine all the time, but man, that really doesn't work out too well.
yeah,
Well-
that's not
Oh, man.
my drug of choice. I will tell you that. I learned that very quickly.
I just want people to like blow it in my face like zombie powder, like before and
With
after
fucking-
shows.
Yeah, this is the end. Have you seen This Is the End?
Yeah.
With it fucking Michael Cera blows the coke in it.
It's like, ha, got you. I want that. Just like let it absorb into my pores. I'm like, I just feel better, thank you. I couldn't eat before or after the
yeah,
show, so
and-
this is about it.
Yep.
No-
And my whole thing with that too is like, you know, I love drinking. I hate being drunk. It's
Hey,
that kind
yeah.
of thing. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So like, so many of the musicians that I look up to had terrible alcohol problems.
You ever seen Behind the Music?
Yeah, you watch it behind the music, and it's just like, it's one of those things for me where it's, eventually you hit a point where you just got to kill your idols, and it's like this aspect is so important to me, but I don't want to live my life like that, you know?
Vomiting blood.
Yeah,
You know?
and part of it too came from when I was teaching. You know, for 6 months of my life, I had to be up at 5 o'clock in the morning on my shit to teach kids. People were putting their children in my classroom,
Yeah,
and I had to
under
be there
your
for
supervision.
them. If you don't take that seriously, You know, and it's the
What the
same.
fuck are you
And it's
doing
the
here?
same with playing. Like, I'll have a beer sometimes, but like I've been kicked out of bars mid-set for being too drunk back in the day. Like
Damn.
I've straight up the watershed moment for me was I was in a bar like 2 weeks after I graduated college. We were playing this bar in the town that I went to school in, and we were day drinking beforehand, and it hit me out of nowhere like halfway through the first set. And so we finished up the set. I walked out to have a cigarette. I went to go back in, and the door guy was like, "Nah, man, you're too drunk. You ain't coming back in here."
But I'm performing.
And I was
leeway
like,
for that.
"Yeah, I was pretty drunk." And then so I had to sit outside this bar for 2 hours, waiting for the show to finish, and it was just like,
Holy shit.
and I was just like,
That
this,
kind of feeling, right?
yeah, I was like, "All right, nut up or shut up." Like this can't ever happen again. Like and I was much bigger back then too, so I was just like, all right, I'm this like disgusting looking fat kid who's somewhat drunk still, sitting outside this bar listening to my band play that I'm not allowed in because I got too drunk beforehand. I was like, no.
That's a moment of clarity.
Like, that's just like fucking, here's Jesus, you better come to him.
Yeah.
Like,
You said, like,
'cause it's-
what were you doing here?
yeah,
Right?
because it's if you're gonna play music and if you're gonna really mean it, that's got to be the most important thing. That's got to be the thing wherein you base every life decision you make off of. You know, if you still love, drinking, but you can't drink on stage or else you don't sound as good, then you better fucking put that bottle down.
Yeah,
You
wait
know, and
till
I'm
after,
not
man.
I'm not sober. You know, I'm by no means do I not drink alcohol, but I'm not gonna go up drunk anymore because it makes me feel bad.
Yeah, and I'm
I
sure you're not
don't-
playing that great either.
Yeah, and it's and I've heard some tapes where I've been drunk and fucking crushing, but like I've
Maybe
heard,
you just forgot.
but I've heard,
not in your
but
head
I've heard
anymore.
a lot more tapes where I've been drunk and not crushing. So
It's all
like,
about a balance.
yeah, and like let's just and especially if you're playing a midnight gig and have to be at work at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Jesus
Like,
Christ, I hate playing last.
you can't.
Sit there for 3 hours.
Yeah,
at a
you can't
bar
be
not
doing that
drinking.
shit. Like-
Ugh.
Or it's like tonight, we're going down to Skull Mechanics.
In a
Skull Mechanics
brewery.
is the best brewery in town, as far
Yeah.
as I'm concerned. They do the beer that speaks to me. Their double IPA is the best double IPA I have ever had in my life.
Fucking a one and done though.
Oh yeah, but I'll have 2. Maybe I'll have 3. I'll have
That's like
one before we
3
have the
bottles
midnight
of
set.
wine.
So I'll have 1 beer beforehand and 2 beers after, and that's it. And then
That's
you know
perfect.
what? I'll wake up. I'll go to work
Relaxed.
tomorrow morning. I'll be fine. Like it's.
Moderation.
You just have to, as soon as you can admit to yourself, like, something's not working anymore, and then you do something about it,
Hey, at least you can see the
you're
problem.
fine, and I mean, I'll be the first to admit, if I get drunk, I don't do the things that I think I do. I used to be a writer. I write a lot of really fucked up stories in my head about things I do when I get drunk, and none of them are true. I know none of them are true, but, like, having that up there, and I work alone, so it's like being
man.
in my head the entire next day.
Right.
Man, I do not have the mental strength for that anymore.
No, man.
I can't.
You're about being depressed.
Yeah. So it's
Jesus
just like,
Christ.
and it's again, you watch any of the bands you love. You watch the fucking Pantera, the 3 Vulgar videos. Like, they're partying their asses
Vinny
off.
seems the less drunk out of everyone in mine. But I'm not sure
Dude,
anymore.
Vinnie Paul is one of my favorite musicians ever, and the most important thing that I learned from Vinnie Paul is to fucking smile.
Huh.
Yeah, like,
Have a good time with it.
you watch those fucking Pantera videos, and he's killing, and it's angry, and they're fucking, yeah. But he's just back there with those fucking chops. He's just,
He's smiling.
and he's just having the greatest fucking time. Like, that's why I love.
too serious
That's why I
here.
love Killswitch Engage too. It's heavy music, but they're all just fucking dicking off the whole time.
Yeah.
Like,
It's a super serious music, but taken with a lighter tone of
Yeah.
the personalities. that are in
Exactly,
it.
like
Love
you-
it. Yeah. Kind of reminds me of your band. Very
Yeah,
heavy
well, just-
aggressive, the lighter tone that's very much so underneath. It's,
Yeah, it's
it's
just-
a little
you
of
gotta
the
have-
Nirvana.
you
It's,
gotta
it's
have
dark
fun.
and it's still light. Well, thank you so much for coming
dude,
on and
thank you
doing
for
this.
having me, man. This
Yeah,
was a
dude.
blast.
We can fucking talk about this shit
I know.
all goddamn day. I'm pretty sure we went past the time. My producer's looking at me like, you were done 10 minutes ago. But I couldn't stop it.
Dude, this has been a lot of
Yeah.
fun, man.
Oh, of course. Before you go,
Yeah.
anything you want to promote, projects, upcoming shows? I know you got one tonight.
Yeah. So Burger Patrol, we're doing Skull Mechanics tonight, which is the 7th of June
This
in
is
the
the
year of
7th.
our Lord 2019.
Yes. Friday.
And then the next one we have is the 20th at Mohawk Indoors with North by North from Chicago. I think they're from Chicago. And then we're going to start recording soon. We got a new EP. It's called Grease Beast. That'll be out July 25th. We're shooting for. And we're going on the road. We're doing a little Texas run after that. We're doing Austin and Houston and San Antonio and College Station. We're doing that with Monte Luna.
Oh, right,
So
yeah.
that's going to be a lot of fun. Fucking James and Phil are the shit.
I think I'm going to be there for the kickoff of that.
Lost
Tunes.
Well, I think.
Yeah,
Yep.
Flooded Tunes is going to kick them off.
Are you guys on that? Oh,
yeah,
cool.
we're going to kick them off
Awesome.
for there. And I think it's supposed to be like Destroyer of Light coming back. That's
a different one.
The European. Okay.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Well, isn't that like in a couple of weeks?
It's Tuesday.
That's Tuesday?
For whatever reason, these
Okay.
3 heavy hitters, and then they were like, hey, you want to be on this app?
Because
Of course I want
Destroyer's
to.
been out. Those guys
Yeah.
are fucking monsters.
And Texas is going to be there, and then we
Yep.
got Montaluna. So
Yep.
I got my drummer reservoir stack
Yeah.
where I'm like just doing push-ups, my
Yep.
friend. I'm
That
lifting
one-
weights.
Do you know what time? Y'all are
We
doing?
play at 9, and then
Okay.
everyone's after us. I think
'Cause-
it's Montaluva, Hexus, and
Cool.
then Destroyer.
Yeah, because I got it. Because I'm going out. I'm trying to get down to Mohawk to see because Cro-Magnus is playing.
Oh, goddamn.
Those are my
Yeah.
fucking boys, dude. I love those dudes. It's like stoner math rock, like stoner doom Manson math rock shit.
That's kind of what I want.
Dude, it's so good.
Kind of where I'm like trying to push my band, make it a little bit more technical and doomy.
But yeah,
Huh?
and then
Nothing.
so I think so. What? Yeah, we got shows. We got the record coming out on the 25th. Bourgeois Mystics has a new single coming out. We just released one. We've got another one coming out soon. We were just in the Recording Conservatory of Austin studio doing that.
Yeah.
That place is gorgeous. That was a lot of fun. I didn't actually play a note the entire day. But
Just being there.
it was just an
experience.
excellent studio. I sat there with my laptop and sent some booking emails.
I mean, obviously,
Yeah,
they could
I
just
think-
find you in all the social media platforms.
we're
so many
you know,
shows.
Rickshaw's up on social media on Facebook, Rickshaw Billie's Burger Patrol, Spotify, Bandcamp, Instagram. It's Rickshaw Billie and the Boys. That's Billy with an IE.
I.e., not a Y.
Yep.
They're gonna
Yeah, and we're just around.
Yeah.
We're playing.
say. If you haven't
We're
listened
just
to it,
doing the thing.
listen to it. It's amazing. Been listening to it all day. Showing my cousin, I was like, "Dude, you want to get in on this?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's fine." I'm like, "No, it's really fucking good."
Man, it's 3 years ago when the band that I moved down here with broke up. I was ready to just fucking stop playing drums. And then Leo and I started doing this, and I was like, all right, I'll stick around for a little while longer. It was a fucking good choice.
Yeah, I say so.
It's going.
I'm happy with your choice.
It's going,
Yeah.
like, we're putting the work in, and it's paying off, man, and it's really
You
good.
can see it, and it really is.
Yeah.
And I fucking can't wait to like play with you guys again,
Dude,
or
fuck
maybe
yeah.
just fucking. Hopefully,
Dude,
you guys
fuck
play
yeah.
on Monday. I'm only off on Mondays. So I was like,
Well, dude,
"They're Monday."
dude, we'd love to go back down and play Indian Roller again.
I know, right?
That was
Those
a
are a
lot of
little bit
fun.
hard to set up, but
Yeah.
we should do something soon for sure. Well, thank you again, Sean.
Dude, thanks
It's
for
been
having me,
great.
man.
Yes,
It was a good time.
Yeah.